24th of October 2018, and I open the meeting at 5:30 and acknowledge the traditional custodians, the Garriata people, and recognise the contribution of Garriata elders past, present and future in working together for the future of Port Hedland, and also recognise one of our freemen of the town that's here today, Arnold Carter. Thank you. Item 3, a recording of attendance is as listed, but we do have Councillor Peter Carter and Councillor Talona Pitt currently here as well. 3.2, attendance by telephone or instantaneous communication, there is nil. 3.3, apologies, there are nil. 3.4, approved leave of absence. We do have approved leave of absence by Councillor Carter and Councillor Pitt, but they're currently in attendance. 3.5, disclosures of interest. Council members, do I have any disclosures of interest?
Item 11.1, which is the closure of the cemetery, I would like to declare an impartiality.
Thank you. Anyone else? Council?
I have a impartiality because I'm also on the board of the Historical Society, which made a submission by absolute submission on this issue, and to do with the Port Hedland grave site and its closure. The other one I'm looking at is
Councillor.
I haven't got the number.
Whitwell, is that 11.1.1, closure of Port Hedland Cemetery?
That's correct. Yes, I've got
for
it
an impartiality.
Right. Impartiality.
Okay.
And the other one was, sorry, I can't see the thing listed here. I go through the confidential attachments, and an ordinary attachment that's not here. I know it's combined in something else, but it's to do with 14.2.2, I think it is, which is the one to do with the issue to do with the change of the lease purpose. I'm sorry, I just haven't got it here. I can't get it in the system here.
Yes.
I know.
Use not listed. Which agenda item is that? Use not listed. That's the 11.2.2. Okay, thank you. Do I have any further declarations of interest, council members? No? Thank you. Item 4, applications for leave of absence. Do I have any applications? Yes, Councillor Carter.
Yes, Mayor, from the 2nd and the 15th of November.
Any further applications? No, could I get a mover in...
So moved.
Moved Councillor De Cash and seconded Councillor Heather. Item 5, response to previous questions. 5.1, response to questions taken on notice from the public at ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday the 26th of September 2018 from Mr. Frank Kane. The question is listed and the answer is provided in the agenda item. 5.2, response to questions taken on notice from elected members at the ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday the 26th of September 2018. There is nil. Item 6, public time. Members of the public, I do have to read out this disclaimer. It's pretty long. This meeting has been recorded on audio tape and streamed live online as an additional record of the meeting and to assist with minute-taking purposes, which may be released upon request to third parties. If you do not give your permission for recording your participations, please indicate this at the meeting. The public is reminded that in accordance with Section 616 of the Town of Port Eden Local Law and Standing Orders, nobody shall use any visual or vocal electronic device or instrument to record the proceedings of any meeting unless that person has been given permission by the chairperson to do so. Members of the public are also reminded that in accordance with Section 6174 of the Town of Port Eden Local Law and Standing Orders, mobile telephones must be switched off and used during the meeting. In accordance with Section 673 of the Town of Port Eden Local Law and Standing Orders, members of the public are required to complete a question form and place the completed form in the tray provided. So members of the public, I'm happy for you to use any electronic devices to follow the agenda of the meeting if you so wish. So I will open public question time at 5:37 and call for public questions. Do I have any public questions? Mr. Carter?
Arnold Carter, 47 Moore Street, Port Eden. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one question that relates to a question that I asked last council meeting when I was here. It was concerning the allocation or the distribution of financials since the end of July. I was notified then that they would be available to me on the 15th of October. The 15th of October has been and gone, and I've not seen any indication of any financials. Could you please advise me when these would be available, and will they be before or after the audit?
CEO, can I get a response?
If I could just refer to Director of Corporate.
The auditors have actually been here this week.
Yeah.
The accounts are currently still in draft form, and we're working on some residual issues remaining with the asset revaluation. We're hoping to have them out we've made a commitment to have them done by mid next week for the auditors. So they'll go out to the council and yourself as a member of the ARG at that time.
I can say we'll have them by the end of October.
Yes, a week from today. Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Do I have any further public questions? Geez, that's an easy night tonight. We got another one? Yes? Yes.
Yes, I'm Bernie King. All I want to know is a justification
Could I get your address too, please, for the record?
at Port Plaza at Edgar Street.
Edgar Street, Port Plaza. Thank you.
Yes. I sent an email about 7 times just asking for a justification of the sudden increase on the commercial rates property, which is more than 100%. Out of that email, I haven't been, all they keep on sending me is pamphlet. And not explaining, because I don't know whether whom I'm sending this email knows the meaning of justification.
Okay.
Unfortunately, also with those attachments that they attach on my email, believe it or not, it's about 163 pages of taxpayer. I don't think that attachment is intended for me. I don't think so.
Okay, so you would like a justification
Yes.
as to the increase in your rates on your commercial property?
Yes.
Okay, so the council had a few public forums before we applied the new rate in the dollar to the town.
Yes.
Previously, a residential rate category was at a. I'll just simplify it a little bit. The residential category was at a level, and business, so in industry, light commercial and commercial, was 50% less than residential. So what we have done is we have applied a rating strategy that is equal in the commercial, industry, and light commercial and residential aspects of the town. So everybody pays the same rate in the dollar, okay? And that is, so then what happens is when the Valuer General values the town, it is up to the Valuer General to value each property, and then that the rate in the dollar is applied to that valuation, which determines the rate. So everybody across the town pays the same rate in the dollar, and the way it's calculated is through the Valuer General's office. If there is a problem with the valuation of your property, you do have 28 days, I'm sure it's 28 days, it's 28 days from the time you receive your rating notice to object to the Valuer General's office on the valuation of your property. So
On the simple thing, more or less, what I'm saying is it's not really justified. Even you explain all the explanation that you were saying, right? But to me, for a simple person, to increase my rate from 7,000 to 15,000, how could you justify that?
I can justify that by saying that the rate in the dollar is the same for everybody in Port Hedland.
That is not the way we see it. Okay?
I understand that's not the...
All the residential and industrial rates went down, except for the commercial. So do you think all these commercial property owners, are we the only one we have money? Even how many explanations you're saying, just a simple thing is you cannot increase commercial property more than 100%. And no one is stopping you either. Next year you could increase it again. No one can stop you. I did a little bit of my homework. No one can stop if the share wants to increase it again next year.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. So what is your guarantee that next year probably it will be another 200%? Do you want all the commercial?
No, can I correct you? It cannot be 200%.
No, but what I'm saying, no one can stop you if you want to increase it again next year.
Yeah, that's correct. The council can apply an increase or a decrease to anybody's rates. That's right.
But there is no
That is why we
I don't think so that you can.
that is why we apply a process leading up to the budget adoption, where people can agree or disagree to the rating strategy that we're putting forward.
So what I'm saying, with that 7 email, the same thing. That is what's written on the pamphlet. I'm not explaining the word justification. All you want for me to read is all the attachment, which doesn't explain. Or probably I don't understand.
And we're happy to bring you in and explain the rating process if you would like to have a meeting with our town officers.
I don't have to, because I consulted already my lawyer. And my lawyer said, you could increase. Next year, no one can stop you. I'm not going here and talking to you without doing my homework.
And I have answered your question.
Yes, but it's just sad that I'm telling everybody here that next year you could increase it. No one can stop you.
The town has,
You just accepted that you could increase it.
and I have said that, I've given you a direct answer to say that we can decrease, we can increase. The town has a responsibility to generate enough income to maintain all of our services in the town, and we have a lot of them.
Yes, what is your services you have given to me? I've been here in Port Hedland for 22 years. Just mention one service you have done in Port Plaza, or I would say Edgar Street.
We built the road out the front of your house, out the front of your business.
Yep.
Yes.
So just give me just one
I've
that
just
you have
given you
done.
one.
What have you done?
Did you have any further questions for me?
No, just all I want
I have
is you
answered your
have
questions.
No, but I still want an explanation on how could you increase the rates.
I have answered that question. We can provide a written response if you would like.
Yep. If you could write
CEO,
please.
could I get a written response?
Yes, we'll get a written response prepared for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I have any further public questions? Yes.
Good evening, Mayor Blanco, Deputy Mayor and Councillors, and CEO David Pence and staff. I'd just like to ask a few short questions, if I may. Regarding the Gratwick Memorial Hall, which I believe is on the agenda tonight, what will be the expected time frame for renovations of the Gratwick Memorial Hall once a tender is secured? Is Council looking at 2019 for the public to be able to hire out the hall for functions?
We're looking at around February next year to be able to open the hall up to the public, but that will depend on any further works that may have to be done on the stage area.
All right, thank you. I also wanted to know, will there be a public consultation or anything like that, or is that already being done?
No, if council approves the works on the civic centre tonight, then I would think that it'll be around February next year.
All right. Oh, thank you very much. I was going to ask a question on streamlining.
Miss,
sorry?
can we just clarify?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, through the chair, just for clarification, Ms. Gillingham, the works that are going to take place are based on the Civic Centre itself. There is no works currently outlined for Gratwick Hall. The works that we're going to do are to renovate the offices downstairs so that we can move all the offices from upstairs downstairs to vacate the hall to start giving it back to the community. However, there is no budget set aside at the moment to do any renovations or renewal works for Gratwick Hall. And just to confirm as well, the timeline is actually going to be March, not February. I've given a revised plan to ELT this week. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I was going to ask a question regarding streamlining meetings online, as I did visit the website and couldn't quite see where I could see a recording of the streamlined meetings. So we are being still streamlined?
We are.
Yes.
We are streamed online. That's right.
All right. Oh, thank you. I just did find it difficult to find the actual recordings of any streamlining on the website, on the new website.
The new one.
Yes.
Yes, I did have a look at that. Just a little while ago, and I think it was a little bit tough. But under videos, you'll get to the live streaming.
All right. Thank you. My next question is regarding councillor attendance. Also to say that as the new Town of Port Hedland website is more user-friendly, thank you, it is good to see an open and transparent page with the listing of the attendance of our mayor and councillors at ordinary council meetings, audit finance meetings, public agenda meetings, and many private and public events. Will this page of the attendance of councillors, will this continue as an information of transparency of councillors' attendances as a regular page on the website, so that our community can see how several councillors are not in attendance and also sometimes fail to attend meetings without apologies? And I don't mind if that is on notice.
No, that's fine. I can answer that. No, that will not be left in the agenda. Council has requested that it be removed out of the agenda.
Right, okay, thank you. My next short question regarding the old tamarind tree. I have sent an email through. The old tamarind tree in Acton Street on the old school oval looks very unhealthy and may have even died. I have emailed council staff and therefore would like an update on the heritage tree for this to be looked into. I know that lack of rains does seem to be a problem for many older trees without regular watering. I'm happy to take that on notice.
I will take that one on notice. We can answer it, yes.
Through the chair, I believe, Jan, you'll find you received an email from us this afternoon.
All right, thank you very much for that, much appreciated. Also, I'd like to say, my last question, the town is looking great. Mayor Blanco, CEO David Pence, can you please pass on thanks to all the ground staff for all their efforts, and also thanks to the public information tables that you had manned over the recent past weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms Gillingham. Did I give the address on that? No. Ms Gillingham, could I just get you to state your name and address? I think I forgot.
I forgot about that as well, sorry. Janet Gillingham, 3 Simmons Street, Cook Point, Port Hedland, 6721.
Thank you, Ms Gillingham.
Thank you. Apologies.
Do I have any further public questions?
I would like to know what's happening with our old cemetery in Port Hedland, please.
You would like to know?
Yeah, what does the Shire intend to do with it? As that is historical, we do not have any historical sites left at all in Port Hedland.
The cemetery item that's coming up tonight is about whether it remains open or it remains closed. That's for burials.
Okay, I need that. You really need to really explain yourself.
Okay, I can explain.
Excuse me, can you just let me finish, please?
Yep, sure.
Because the town of Port Hedland has no interest whatsoever in the historical side of what we had in Port Hedland. As it was a Shire Port Hedland then, they have demolished absolutely everything that we had of history. They've let the old school go to ruins, so we have nothing now other than the old Pioneer Cemetery.
So tonight will determine whether the cemetery is opened for future burials or whether it is closed. Now, historically, the Pioneer Cemetery, everybody thought it was closed from 1968 to now. So that was the general consensus of the community and the town. When Merv Stanton was buried there last year, we did some investigations and found out that the cemetery had not actually been closed. So basically, it is an administrative, process to close the cemetery permanently for burials.
Close it for burials, full stop.
That's right.
But you are not going to do any development?
There is no plans to do anything on the cemetery. It's just a matter of whether it stays closed or whether it remains open.
Okay, because it has to remain where it is. That's the only thing we have left of Port Hedland.
There is no plan to do anything with the cemetery.
There is no old Port Hedland left now. It's all been destroyed. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, could I just get your name and address too? Thanks.
Hazel Lockyer, 139 Kennedy Street, South Hedland. I've been here for 68 years.
Thank you.
So I've seen the growth of Port Hedland.
Do I have any further public questions? Close public question time at 5:55 and open public statement time at 5:55. Do I have any public statements from members of the public? Thank you. Brent?
Hi, my name's Claire Bennett. I live at 5 Robinson Street, Port Hedland. I'm here from One Tree Lane Taplin Children's Services, and I'm representing families from our community who are on wait lists in childcare around town. My team of amazing educators want to help the community and the current childcare crisis. In the notes for the meeting tonight, it states that there's currently 5 early education services in Port Hedland. That's not true, there's only 4. With 15,000 residents now here, that's not enough daycare to support the community needs. I'd like to point out that the current waiting list of the daycare as well in the notes says it's 46. My daycare alone has 150 and more families on the waiting list now. And some of the families have been on there since 2017, and they're still waiting. Families are contacting the services now in Karratha because they're going to move town because they can't get daycare. So they're going to leave the town of Port Hedland to go and live in Karratha so that they can go back to work. I have mothers in tears that can't return to work because they can't get daycare. That's ruining the workforce in Port Hedland. And companies like FMG have said that they've got people handing in their notice because they can't get back to work. I have heard that schools are now applying to the government to extend their housing policy and agreements because there's teachers waiting to go back to work, can't go back to work, are in government housing, and they've now got to extend their contracts because, as you know, when you're in government housing, you can only be on maternity leave for a certain amount of time. Companies are losing valuable employees because they have having to hand their resignations in due to having no childcare. I've heard that the library facility might become available, which is on Len Taplin's current site. We have our own access to the library from the back of our daycare. So if we could extend our current licence, it would open up the capacity to accommodate 30 more children if we could have the library premises. It's already on our lot. It's an easy fix for now, but that still wouldn't help the current crisis for childcare in town. I've heard that there's talk of spending over $1 million on restoring old artefacts and cemeteries and things in town. I'd rather the $1 million go to restoring daycare. There's a daycare in South Hedland that still is closed. I would rather the money go to use that. Current families that are in town that would use the facility right now and they're still here. It's desperate. We need to accommodate and support Hedland community. The childcare needs are desperate, and I'm sure a lot of the families are here tonight. And I hear families having to leave their children with strangers now, in desperate need to go back to work. They don't know some of the people that they're leaving their kids with, but they have to do it or else they'll lose their jobs. I hope that you can consider the option of the library or help support other alternatives and other facilities within the town. I've added my minutes already to the lady over there, so that's all handed in. Thanks.
Thank you. Do I have any further public statements?
Frank Edwards, Drovers Rodeo. I have a couple of documents here for the councillors to view while I'm making my statement. I was brought to Port Hedland in 1960 when I was 1, so I didn't have a choice. I've been in this community supporting it for over 50 years. I've helped build a lot of things in town, too many to remember. I've just been informed that somebody has decided to put in an application to build a dog business next to my horse properties. I have invested nearly $2 million out there building this property. I have got horses that are for the kids of Port Hedland. Dogs and kids, horses don't mix. I'm going to give you a hypothetical situation. If you allow this dog business to go ahead and you have kennels and dogs out there barking, we have stray cattle still running up and down the road. Any of those stray cattle that are eating grass on the side of the road and get spooked by those dogs will run out onto the road, somebody driving past, bang, who's going to be liable for the death? I've been there a long time, and all the people that know me know they are horse paddocks. I transferred that lease when it was a horse paddock to the person that's got it now, and he knows it is still a horse paddock, not a dog kennel. So I'm asking you not to allow this to happen, because I won't stop here. I will go to the state government, because the land is owned by the state, not the Shire, and they determine what goes on there. Every time I need to do something out there, I have to ring the state government and write to them and need the minister's permission before I do anything. Not councils, the state, because the land is owned by the state. The other people that have the leases out there acquired them fraudulently. I say fraudulently because they were leased sole purpose, stabling and paddocking of horses only. Those people have never had horses there. The state government should get its compliance officer up here, inspect every block and say, where are your horses? I'm the only one out there that's done the right and honest thing 26 years. And now I'm getting this. My dogs have been mauled, chased, attacked by local, private and wild dogs. And the dog problem is all over Australia. Now you want to come and build a dog pen next to the ponies for the kids at Port Hedland. You know? And I find out this today. They've let this go under the radar. Nobody's advertised it. Nobody's come out and asked any of the other leaseholders, have you got any objections? No one. Nothing. And yet the person that owns that lease knows it's a horse paddock. You know? Those dogs start barking. If you go to Wedgefield when the dog kennels are full of dogs, you can hear them for all the way across Wedgefield. What's it going to be like out there for my horses? I'm not going to be able to bring them back to town, give these babies rides, because they'll be that... It takes years to get a horse to do what I do. So I'm just asking you, nicely, when you vote on it, vote the right way.
Could I get your name and address for the...
You already gave that.
Did you?
Frank
Okay.
Edwards, Strogan's Radio.
Thank you, Frank. All right, thanks for your statement, Frank. Do I have any further public statements from the gallery? I'll close public statement time at 6:03. .3 petitions, deputations, presentations and submissions. I do have one tonight. This petition was received from the Port Hedland Baseball Association, Mr. Darren Cosgrove, with regard to the Marie Marland Playground infrastructure. Would the community member like to come up and read their petition?
Darren Cosgrove, 21 Acacia Way, South Hedland. Evening all. For you that don't know me, I'm Darren Cosgrove. I've been in Hedland for 24 years and I'm currently the president of the Port Hedland Baseball Association. What I'm here for is the tender we found out about to remove the playground facilities at Marie Marland Reserve where our baseball games are played. I've just been on holidays and received it by mail and with no consultation at all with any of the baseball, softball association, rugby.
Mr. Cosgrove, could I just get you to read the petition statement there, and then the petition will be put to council at the next agenda.
Righto. First, a letter from the on behalf of the Port Hedland Baseball Association. On behalf of the Port Hedland Baseball Association, it consists of 4 senior clubs and junior teams, I want to voice our concerns over the operating decision to close the Marie Marlin Reserve playground area. After hearing this decision, we have collated a petition attached of collected signatures to show community support of this issue. Over 100 plus users from baseball use the Marie Marlin Reserve throughout the summer season, and existing playground facilities are an attraction for families that are involved in our sport, providing a safe place for small accompanied children and more independent children to play while mum or dad are busy playing baseball or volunteering during our sport. The playground is well placed under its own shade and next to shaded trees that have a natural wind tunnel, making it a necessity and preferred place for families to watch and enjoy our sports, while the weather is warmer and within reach during our night games. The Town of Port Hedland's recently published strategic plan outlines key reasons why the playground should be kept and maintained at the Marie Marlin Reserve as a valued community asset. 1. Well utilised and valued community facilities and services. Community facilities and infrastructure are well utilised and met the needs of the community. 1.1. The present and future facilities and requirements of the town are planned for and developed in line with relevant facility standards and community needs increased community satisfaction, ownership and pride in facilities, events and services. 1.2. Facilities and community infrastructure are revitalised across the town. 1.3. Facilities and community infrastructure are well maintained, managed and fit for purpose to provide a range of lifestyle opportunities and effective delivery of services and infrastructure to meet community needs. Within the strategic plan in mind and the knowledge that our first stages of a new South Hedland Sporting Precinct Master Plan is about to be drafted and discussed, we ask that the playground infrastructure remain until further consultation about a replacement or upgraded area can be discussed as a community. As residents and ratepayers, we understand the demand placed on the town of Port Hedland to provide quality infrastructure across town and appreciate the maintenance and cost provided to maintain such a sporting venue for our specific ground sports at Marie Marlin Reserve, and hope that further consultation can continue to make this sporting area sensational and well utilised. I look forward to your response regarding your concerns. Regards, Darren Cosgrove, President of the Baseball Association.
Thank you, Darren Cosgrove, for that petition.
Attached, just one more thing. Attached is a petition which was signed by 220 plus sporting people and members of the community between the 12th of October and the 21st of October. The petition is to keep the Marie Marlin playground infrastructure. We, the undersigned residents, call upon the town of Port Hedland to reverse an operating decision to remove the existing playground infrastructure based at the Marie Marlin Reserve that is used by not only the community of a baseball, softball, t-ball, rugby and touch football sporting users, but by the wider community for children to use while sporting games are played in the summer and winter seasons. We feel the decision to remove this infrastructure is detrimental to our families that attend our sport, as it is a safe place for the children to play away from any potential wild balls that are thrown and hit into the fields, and also a safe place for young children to be occupied while families support their partners playing sport. Visiting other infrastructures in WA, most sporting grounds are playgrounds that are supplied and maintained by their councils, and as ratepayers and residents, we require such basic necessities that council commonly provide with reach. With the upcoming South Hedland Sporting Precinct Master Plan being developed, it is an ideal time to keep this infrastructure in place until the Master Plan is developed, and then incorporate a better place playground later with the resident input.
Thank you, Mr. Cosgrove. That petition will go to council at our next council meeting.
No worries.
Thanks. Yeah. Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's the petition on behalf of the Port Hedland Historical Society and refers to the following. We, the undersigned, request that the Port Hedland Cemetery is available for utilisation if so required by the town of Port Hedland community, and there's 150 signatures on this petition. While I'm here, there's just one point of clarification, if I may, and that's in relation to the summary that you're discussing tonight. You quoted the expenditure of 1.39 would be required to function as a cemetery. Would this amount have to be expended before the CEO approached the Minister for permission to allow a burial. It's quite confusing. I can have a determination or a notice on that.
The answer is yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, members, for those presentations. Item 7, questions from members without notice. Deputy?
Mr Mayor.
Councillor Whitwell? Councillor Carter? Councillor De Cash?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just on that Marie Marland situation, I did email to yourself, Mr. Mayor, and whoever else was attached that I agree that baseball, t-ball, or whatever it is, playground be maintained up to the required standard. Did anybody follow up on that to say that it will happen, or are we just going to ignore the situation?
Councillor De Cash, a petition has been put to council. That will be determined at the next council meeting.
Okay, thank you. Second question, Mr. Mayor. 12 months ago, a number of new councillors were duly elected by the electors of the town of Port Hedland. You, Mr. Mayor, proceeded to take police action on members that were elected, citing fraud and corruption. What is the status on this investigation?
Is that an item that is in our current agenda, Councillor De Cash?
It's question time, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor De Cash, if you read your standing orders, that is not an appropriate question.
Show me the standing orders, Mr. Mayor. Tell me what part and where it is, please. Because I don't believe at any time...
Councillor De Cash,
yes.
Can you just wait one second while we have a look? See, can I just get standing orders? Can I get standing orders on that one? Business of meeting, inappropriate.
8.1. 8.1, Mr. Mayor, I've got it from...
I'll get it. I should have had it ready. It's okay, I've got it here. I have it. Yes, yes, I have it, yes. In relation to council members, members may ask questions relating to an item on the notice paper or on matters related to the good governance of persons in the district. So in that case, Councillor De Cash, I will not accept that question.
So the question, Mr. Mayor,
the question can be directed to me, in the appropriate manner, and I will give you an answer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just quoting that on matters related to the good government of persons in the district, which is ourselves, I suppose, I would just like to know the situation on the procedure that you took, citing fraud and corruption of councillors, with elected councillors. That's got to be part of the good government of persons in the district.
Yes. Okay.
So,
in the before the last election, local election, I submitted a report to police on corruption and mail fraud evidence that I had obtained in our last local election. Since that time, the police have closed that investigation about 2 months after the election. I then FOI'd all documents relating to the police investigation. That process took about 4 months. The police gave me a letter saying that the investigation had been reopened, and that has been ongoing until about 3 weeks ago. The investigation has been closed. My understanding is that the police have evidence of mail tampering and fraud in relation to the Town of Port Hedland election, but they do not have evidence to prove that they do not have enough evidence to charge a specific person. That is in relation to the Department of Public Prosecutions not accepting expert witness evidence on handwriting. So, in my opinion, and with the information that I have, I understand that there was fraud in the Port Hedland, the last Port Hedland local election. There was corruption, and there was mail tampering as well. Is that good enough answer for you, Councillor De Cash?
So the matter is closed. Is that right?
No, the matter is not closed. I'll be pursuing it.
Okay. In that case, can we write, well, you're pursuing, so you're appealing against that decision, is that right? As always saying that.
No, I'm making sure that the appropriate agencies do not sweep this under the carpet.
So it's going to be a cancer that's growing and growing, is that
Councillor
right?
De Cash, this is an investigation, and this is, this is evidence that I have put to the police, to the detectives. If you are not happy with that, then I suggest that you investigate that process, because you have exactly the same information I have.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I didn't get that information about 3 weeks ago, and I did have a meeting with the CEO to discuss the issue, and that wasn't brought up.
Okay, so can I have your next question? I have answered your question, Councillor De Cash. Do you have another question?
No, that's enough.
Okay. The CEO has just stated you never received the information, you just... No. Oh, no. Yep. No, the CEO hasn't received any information from the police.
Okay.
This is an investigation that I am, involved in. I'm the one that has put the evidence forward. So, and I'm a bit surprised that members of the council, haven't supported me in that.
Well, how can I support you if they're not guilty of anything? You're the one making
the council
accusations.
Is well aware. The council is well aware of these things that have been happening, because we've discussed it previously. So, if the council was, ensuring that good governance of the district was in play, then you would have investigated any information, that's relating to any sort of election tampering or fraud that's going on.
But that was your decision, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor De Cash,
you just can't.
I've answered your questions.
Accuse us, okay.
Do I have any other questions? Councillor Hebbard? Councillor McDonough? No, thank you. Councillor Pitt? Thank you. Okay, announcements from a presiding member without discussion. I'll be quick, because I know we have a few kids in the gallery that might start getting anxious. There's one. Look, I'd like to thank the Premier, Mark McGowan, for announcing the commitment to invest $95 million into the Spurbank Marina development. That's a significant milestone for Hedland's development. And effective planning will ensure we capture all of the business and tourism opportunities when the precinct is complete. This development will also drive local business confidence, adding extra jobs to our town, and put us on a track of creating a livability needed to entice people to make Hedland their home. The second announcement on the implementation of the recommendations of the health risk assessment in the West End were also welcomed. This conversation has been debated and considered for the last 10 years. It's now time to act on those recommendations. This will bring certainty to the West End and the town's future direction and allow us to renew our town planning scheme that has been stalled for the last 10 or 12 years. Just in addition to that, the Pilbara Regional Council agreed last week to wrap up. We're currently in the process of closing the organisation down. That will have about a $250,000 saving to our operational costs moving forward. There may be an opportunity to develop a Pilbara regional meeting sometime in the future at a significantly reduced cost, but there's been no decision made from Headland around whether we will do that or we will not do that. Just one other thing, we did put out a media release the other day about Sunrise coming to Headland next Friday. So it's a pretty early start, but it'd be great to see a huge turnout from Headland because Sunrise is broadcast across Australia. So hopefully we have all the mums and bubs out there cheering along. Be a early morning bunch. So. We've also put out a community survey that is. It would be good if members of the community could fill that community survey out, and that just gives us a guide to how we're doing, whether the community sees our progress as being in the right direction, being good. So then we can adjust if we need to. So if you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated and would help us a lot moving forward. So thank you. Now, okay, so item 9, declarations of all members to have given due consideration to all matters contained in the business paper before the meeting. Could I have a show of hands, please? Thank you. 9-0. Item 10, confirmation of minutes of previous meeting. 10.1, confirmation of minutes of ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday the 26th of September 2018 with the officer's recommendation on page 11. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor McDonough. And seconded Deputy Mayor. Do I have any against? Motion's passed 9-0. Now, just for your information, members of the public, I know you're here for the childcare. Some of you are here for the childcare, so I will do the closure of the Headland Cemetery first, and then I'll ask council to bring the childcare item forward so we can hear it.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Soon.
Could we actually bring the childcare first?
No, I'll do the closure first. Item 11, reports from officers. 11.1.1, closure of the Port Hedland Cemetery.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to declare an interest. With regard to item 11.1.1, the closure of the Port Hedland Cemetery, I declare that I have impartiality interest because I am a member of the Historical Society that has submitted a report for this. As a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected. I declare that I will consider this matter on its merits and vote accordingly.
Thank you, Councillor Arif. Do I have any further declarations of interest?
Yes, you have. It's about item number 1.1.1 on the nominal committee of the Historical Society.
Could I get you to speak into the microphone, Councillor Whitwell?
I'm on the committee of the Historical Society, and I'm claiming impartiality. With regard to the agenda item, which I've just read, I disclose that I have an impartiality interest because I'm a member of the Committee of the Historical Society. As a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected. I declare that I will consider this matter on its merits and vote accordingly.
Thank you, Councillor Whitwell. Do I have any further declarations? Okay, thank you. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
Have an alternative recommendation. Thanks, Mayor.
I'll need a mover and a seconder first to open the item up.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment on the report.
And I've just stated
Same
that
thing.
We need to move I need a mover.
Okay.
Do I have a mover? Moved, Councillor Whitwell. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Deputy Mayor. Okay, I have a mover and a seconder. Do I now have a alternate recommendation, do I?
To make the last three words be removed and replaced with continue to stay open. Can I just have a look at standing orders? I don't think that's actually allowed. Could I get a could I get a reference to that item that it cannot change the intent of the agenda item? Standing orders, there's an item in standing orders that says the item cannot be changed, significantly changed. Am I right or no?
You're wrong again, Mr.
Okay. Okay. Some clarification? Yes.
If I can get some clarification on that, is it to continue to stay open or continue to stay open and prepare for burials?
Continue to stay open and prepare.
Can I get you to speak into the microphone?
Continue to stay open and prepare for burials.
Are we all clear on that?
Mr.
So I have a mover and a seconder in the original item. I now have, are you moving that amendment, Deputy?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mayor.
Do I have a seconder in the amendment?
I'll second it.
Do I have any against? I am against.
I'm against.
Okay.
Well,
Speakers for, Deputy Mayor. Speakers for, Councillor Arif. Speakers against, Councillor McDonough.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm a long-term resident, born and bred in Port Hedland. My parents came here in 1966. I felt that there was, and I will start with a few of the disagreements that I had with a certain amount of things that were in our agenda item. One, I'd just like to state that it's stated in our agenda item, since Stan Martin was buried in 2017, I would just like to...
Councillor,
sorry, not
Councillor,
Stan.
Stan is still alive.
Merv Stanton. I'd just like to remind people, as you know, I do know a lot of the history of the town, is that Merv Stanton actually proceeded to start that back in 2006, 2 years before Betty died. So I just wanted to clarify that was not the starting of when someone was buried in the Port Hedland Cemetery. Secondly, I would like to speak on behalf of the people that are in this gallery tonight, a lot of them, the people that I believe would have signed that petition, are the pioneers of this town for this century. And a lot of them have lived their whole lives in Port Hedland. And some have been here 40, 50, 60, even getting into the 70 years. And I believe that it is their choice if they want to be buried in the Pioneer Cemetery. And can I please state, as per our strategic community plan, that it is an ongoing facility of this town that we maintain already. So I cherish them and their decisions in the afterlife, because I am a very spiritual person. Secondly, I would like to state a bit of history that a lot of this town has forgotten. And this did, in April this year, when this budget briefing came to council, it did ignite a lot of pain within myself, knowing that a very deep friend of mine lost his life here in 2004, called James Dean Wadley, at the BHP HBI site. And the last wishes of his mother, of a 34-year-old son that died before her, was that she wanted him buried at our Pioneer Cemetery. God help BHP, they did help to try to do that. The burden for me to know today that her wishes were not left there with his body to be remained in, and he is history. Even though it is bad history, he was history of this town. So unfortunately, James Dean Wadley is not buried in our Pioneer Cemetery. He was cremated and his ashes are out at the 24 Boy alongside my father's. But, and as I will say again, it did burden me and sadden me immensely that he could have been buried in our cemetery, but it didn't happen. I'd also like to state that going through this, I've also found another burial in 2001, which unfortunately I do not know the lady. So there has been a number of burials lately. It is a significant landmark for our residents, and that was brought up in the BHP enhancement scheme that they did from 2011 and had their opening in 2015. It was also, I would like to quote, because in a bit of our details, it states that that we don't want to upset burials that may still exist there. But by reading the paperwork that we were given, it seems that the cemetery was a lot bigger than what it is today. Yes. It went all the way down to Anderson Street, and it currently said in the paperwork that those lost cemeteries could already be built on. So I just wanted to state that tonight as well. I'd also like to state that with the nearly $700,000 that was spent on it less than 4 years ago, I can't conceive where $1.3 million is going to be spent on the cemetery to reopen. Our long-term community goal is to honour our people and our cultural heritage. And I believe tonight, by keeping that open, it will also enhance the native title that is on it, was put on by one of our own native elderlies here, which I believe was Mrs. Mary Atwood. I believe that we could become closer with our Aboriginal people in working together to remove the native title and move ahead with the two titles to be one and our community to have their say on if they want to be buried there or not. They shouldn't have to write to a CEO. They should already have the right for the pioneer years that they have done here. Thank you.
Speakers for Councillor Whitwell. Councillor Arrow. Councillor Arrow.
Thank you very much. The South Hedland Cemetery, they started using that in 1968 when the council perhaps assumed that the Port Hedland Cemetery was full. Now, I don't know how they came to that assumption. They didn't have the technology that we've got now to check it, and perhaps there was poor record keeping as well to keep up to date with who was buried where. As Councillor Newbury has stated, they're popping up everywhere, literally. So they moved out to South Hedland, and so for this many years, the town of Port Hedland have effectively had the two open cemeteries. Not that we knew it, but we've been maintaining two cemeteries for many, many years. On page 15 in the Part 4 Cultural and Heritage section there, which was commissioned by BHP as part of their funding to look into it. It states there that the purpose of the Cultural and Heritage Assessment was to improve the cemetery to make it more inviting and respectful resting place. Now, this is what we should be aspiring to with any cemetery. It doesn't matter whether it's Port or South, we should be aspiring to that anyhow. So, that is still relevant now. Open or closed, we should still be aspiring to having a very restful place for family to visit and inviting and respectful. In regards to the costs, the master plan was completed, this master plan with the Cultural and Heritage Assessment in 2011-12, and the purpose for that was to enhance it, to make it more respectful and everything like that. And perhaps it would be prudent to adhere to that master plan that was done then, rather than spend more money to redo another master plan. I know that a lot of things that were in that master plan have not been adhered to. In the master plan, it said that the bird flowers needed to be protected, and yet the slashers have gone through and chopped them all down. So the master plan is still not being adhered to, and so perhaps we need to go back and look at that and save us money by keeping it open. The annual maintenance cost, well, open or closed, they're going to be there. Doesn't matter whether it's open or closed, the maintenance costs are going to be there. The Bible, Port Hedland's current Bible, the Community Strategic Plan that we are all told to refer to on a regular basis. Open it up under our community here. Part 1D. Well utilised and valued community facilities and services. Well, this is certainly a valued community facility. And as part of that, it actually says that facilities and community infrastructure are not only maintained, but revitalised. So this is in our community plan that we actually have to spend money to revitalise it, open or closed. It's actually there. It's written in. Community and facilities and community infrastructure are well maintained and managed and fit for purpose to provide a range of lifestyle opportunities. Well, that probably doesn't count. But yes, it's there, and as such, I think we need to keep this Pioneer Cemetery open, revitalised and looking good and available to our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Speakers against, Councillor McDonough.
Yes, thank you, councillors. Some good points there. Just in relation to the closure of the Pioneer Cemetery. I really fail to grasp the concept that we're talking about spending $1.3 million on doing all the reports, etc., to reopen the cemetery, when that definitely doesn't align with anything within our strategic community plan as far as it being frugal with money and thinking, and obviously, thinking about the best interests of the town. I wholeheartedly agree as far as the fact that there's certain people in town, and that we heard earlier there may be up to 150 perhaps that would like to be buried in the town. I would find it very hard to believe that many people will actually want to be buried. A lot of people that leave town later in life, but as far as the ones that have got connections with their family in there and want to go in there, I don't see any difference if we close it. But it's still within the delegation of authority through the CEO and through an application to the minister, I believe, that can be approved in 2 days. We can still bury someone in there. We're talking about $28,000 a year maintenance to keep it just maintained if it's closed, where it's more than double that if we open it, plus the 1.3 million on all the reports. You said yourself that the poor record keeping. I couldn't think of anything worse than one of our family members that were buried there to be dug up accidentally from going back and reusing it. Yeah, and I'm sure it was horrible for whoever it happened to.
Thank you, members of the gallery. Councillor McDonough. Councillor McDonough.
As per Councillor Arist's point, we need to honour our people and our cultural heritage, but it is well known. It is the Pioneers Cemetery. The Deputy Mayor said there's pioneers of this century. Well, we can keep going on. There's pioneers forever, but the actual definition of pioneer is a person who is amongst the first to explore or settle in an area, not their ancestors, etc. So sorry, no.
We've got Stockers there, we've got Jacobi's, we've got Clark, traditional owners.
Councillor McDonough.
White pioneers,
can you continue?
that built those
I don't want to go on and on with it, to be honest, Mayor, but
you don't know the history of Port Hedland.
Thank you, members of the gallery.
But I just feel that we would get the same outcome of being able to bury people there with the delegation of authority through the CEO and an application that can be approved in 2 days and not spend the $1.3 million. It'd be much better spent on perhaps daycare facilities and that sort of thing to increase and grow our town, which is what we're here to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDonough. Do I have any speakers for?
Yes, Mr Mayor.
Councillor De Cash.
Sorry.
Councillor De Cash.
Okay, thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, the question was, the cemetery was never closed in the first place, so there's really no need to reopen them. Reopen it, it's never closed. So, councillors, I totally disagree with the closure of the Port Hedland Cemetery. As a cemetery that was never closed in the first place, why should we deny anyone to be buried there if that's their wish? I strongly believe that a number of people buried at the South Hedland Cemetery may have wished to be buried at the Port Hedland Cemetery, to be with their families, friends, or to be at the opposite cemetery beach and the sea. As far as costs are concerned, we would have to spend monies on the Port Hedland Cemetery if we knew it not to be closed anyway. So money would have to be spent, whether it's 1.3 million or 10 million, money would still be spent. Councillors, I urge you to vote to keep the cemetery open. And if that happens, we form a committee to discuss the best options with all concerned parties to go forward. Finally, the statement made by the report that there is no significant identifiable environmental, social or economic impacts relating to this issue is completely false and untrue, so it should be deleted from this item. Thank you.
Councillor De Cash, would you like to withdraw that statement about officers inserting false information into our report?
No, I didn't say officers, I said the report.
Into the report?
I didn't mention officers at all.
Would you like to withdraw that statement, Councillor De Cash?
No, Mr Mayor, and I'll tell you why. Because last meeting I made it quite clear that I was going to mention that at this meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Cash. I'll just ask the question.
No, that's fine. I answered it.
Thank you. Do I have speakers against? Councillor Heber?
Thank you. Thank you for other councillors' views to take into consideration as well. I too have contacted some pioneer families that have lived here and have loved ones buried in the cemetery, and I've asked their opinion on the matter, and they responded with, the cemetery was closed in 1968 and we have all lived in Port Hedland with this knowledge, so why not keep it closed? As a pioneer cemetery, it is a very valued, significant cultural landmark, and it could be continued to be whether it's open or closed. And I agree with the other information. I mean, there's no reason why you can't ask for a special consideration through the CEO to the Minister within 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Heber. I'm lost. Hang on. Speakers for.
Yeah, I'll speak for. So whether the cemetery stays closed or open, there's one thing that I would like to see put over the cemetery, and that is state legislation for protection. As it was said from the floor, all of our heritage is being destroyed for future development. So whether it shuts or whether it opens, it needs to be heritage protected. There are pioneers, as we know, in that cemetery. There's also 600-year-old Kariyarra remains that were reburied in 2014 in that cemetery. And also recently, in the Kariyarra cemetery, the Karrakatta cemetery, which is an open cemetery, there's people who are having their, because the 25-year right of burial is up, without public consultation, the cemetery board have approved for the destruction of their families' headstones. So they're bulldozing the headstones in the cemeteries in Perth, and these are open cemeteries. So for me, state legislation to protect our pioneer heritage is very important, whether this cemetery is open or closed. For someone who likes genealogy and stuff, cemeteries just aren't a place where we bury our dead. They're actually very important for records of deaths, births, family members. There's so much that you can gain information from inside a cemetery. And with this being our pioneer cemetery, I think it holds such a vital information. It's a library of history for those who have connections to this town. And having worked at the museum just recently, so many people come back to this town who have a connection, who have family members who've been here, who grew up here, who looking for information, and cemeteries, especially Pioneer Cemetery, is the first place that people should start to look besides public records. So whether we vote to open the cemetery, keep it open, or to close it, I feel that this matter needs to go to the state for heritage protection. Thank you.
Speakers against? Okay, I'll speak against the item. The council obviously comes up with some tough calls, sometimes. I really don't think this is a tough call. The cemetery has been, apparently closed since 1968. There has been no objection from the community. The CEO of the town is authorised under an application to allow people to be buried there. The financial position of our town is the responsibility of this council, and we determine where our money is spent. But when we decide to spend in unreasonable areas, it creates problems for the rest of our infrastructure. So we've got a pretty big job ahead of us to bring the standard of the town up to the appropriate level. And we only have a limited amount of finance that we can generate. And you would have heard one of the public members complaining about the amount of rates that she got charged. Even though we have set a rate in the dollar across all of the people in Hedland, so everybody is equal in the amount that they pay. All right. So when we spend, $1.3 million to reopen a cemetery that has been closed, I suppose, without being closed, and still have the ability to bury people in that place. I don't think that's been very financially responsible with public money, considering also that we only bury about 20 people each year, and also we already have, and it hasn't been mentioned, we already have a cemetery that we're using that we've spent millions of dollars on to bring it up to a standard. So our cemetery that we're currently using is open. People, when we did some work on it, there was huge amounts of complaints about what we're doing, and they wanted more money spent on it. So we're going to have exactly the same problem when we move into that Pioneer Cemetery. It won't be 1.3 million. It will be a lot more. I think we should remain, with the status quo, close the cemetery. And then just allow the CEO to, by application, allow the CEO to bury people, when that application comes through. So, the cemetery itself, state legislation allows us to build on it after 25 years. So, state legislation allows us to build on it after 25 years. That is what the law is. Okay, so that's not determined by the Council of Port Hedland. That's determined by the Cemeteries Act. And that information has been given to council. You've been given briefings on this. You understand that, all right. Also, what you should understand is that while we've been presented all of this information, that the Pioneer Cemetery is already heritage listed, okay, and So the Department of Planning and Lands, it's in the report, so it's already heritage listed. The Department of Planning and Lands and Heritage has further advised that native title may also exist over the area. So that is where the $1.3 million comes into. We have to do all of those reports, studies, x-rays, all of that sort of stuff before we can reopen it and allow people to be buried in there. So I suggest this information has been given to council. in multiple, reports from officers. So I suggest that we, close the cemetery and allow people to then apply, if they want to be buried there, apply for that burial permit. It's quite easy. I would much rather be seeing $1.3 or $1.5 million be spent on living people in Port Hedland, and I think you'll find that, the people that are actually buried there would much rather see money spent on things like childcare, right? Childcare for the current kids that we've got in this town. I think they would much rather see it, and I would much rather see it. Thank you. Speakers. Speakers for. Councillor Hoover.
Look, I can understand people's view on the basis of the figures here that the costly part of opening it up and to put it into full steam would be pretty tricky. And you're looking at about $1.3 million. But if the CEO makes a decision under the alternative arrangements where we didn't have it continuing, I'd just like to really know how much would be spent by the CEO in actually agreeing with that person being buried there. It could be a number of people being buried there. It could go on for 20, 30 or so people, maybe, I don't know. But the figures could continue. And how are we going to, I wonder how the CEO is going to log up 1.3 million in burying people in that cemetery. I mean, that just seems very strange to me. One thing you're saying that CEO can do better than this and cheaper than this, and it's a question of just whether we're putting on a plaque to say, or perhaps not even a plaque, recognising that people can be buried there is effectively opening the cemetery or keeping the cemetery open. So I wouldn't think our demand here for people going to that cemetery would be very high. We've only got most 20 people who would be looking at being buried here, if that, per annum. There's not that many, because a lot of people actually go away from here and bury themselves somewhere else, because that's where they originated from. So, they want to be with their family and, with their children and that. And there's so many people here who are in that category. So you haven't really got a lot of demand. But there's a sense of, some people might, because they've got their family here and they want to join their family in that sort of situation. Not necessarily next to them, but in some sort of area around there. I cannot understand, and I've never been able to understand this in the figures that have been put to us, how it's more costly to bury somebody over there than it is to bury somebody over on the way near the airport. The issue, though, is obviously the finding of the bodies and so forth, and making sure there's nobody coming over the top of other people. But we've already said in terms of this proposition that was put forward that will be done anyway, right? I don't mean necessarily the complicated, sophisticated way, but when you look through the way in which the burials have taken place in that cemetery, they're not that spread out. There's areas where they're not recorded, and there's been a total record of that area, but the thing is that, sure, it mightn't have been as precise as if we went into a $1.3 million event. I'm not suggesting we go into the $1.3 million, but the people who are putting this motion forward are actually thinking that they will be actually burying people there. And that's what worries me. There's a sort of a issue which doesn't really gel, right? And so the $1.3 million, again, it talks about in order to have it functioning for how long? We haven't got a timeline on that. And it's just $1.3 million picked out of the air. Now maybe somebody's done some work on it. But here in the statements is $1.3 million, no time limit. So maybe eventually if we're burying these people on demand, we might actually get up to that point. I don't know. But the thing is that it seems to me a lot of huff and puff about this. Surely we can, we've got to maintain both of these cemeteries. There's no question there, right? It's part of our heritage and it needs to stay there, right? And it needs to be looked after in a sophisticated manner, not lavish manner, but a proper manner, which it is, I believe, at the moment. And I think both of them are really going all that way. But my view would be that it's best to leave them open. If at some stage we get a massive lot of people coming in and wanting to be buried there, we might have to give a reconsideration. We haven't got that situation. Highly unlikely to happen. Thank you.
Speakers against? Speakers for? Right of reply, Deputy.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to say, because I think 3 members of this table have brought it up about burying on top of burials, could I just clarify that in the report it does state that the data acquired was of a very high quality of the homogeneous dry and sand subsurface. It is well known, because I believe the position here that the agenda item states is about when we went to dig Merv Stanton's hole, that it was out of place. It also states on page 16 of your report, it is well known in archaeological circles that in sand material remains move both vertically and horizontally. So I could tell you now that that X-ray penetration that we had, they said was of a very high standard, the best that you could get. So I just wanted to clarify on that in winding up to my elected members that they're basically saying that we're all cool. What they found, and there's no more to find. So just clarify that. But I would like to state, I know it's being used in the bargaining tonight, I find this a reasonable section of the town to spend money on. 28.7% of the long-term residents was stated in our strategic community plan. I believe more than 150 people are a lot more older than long-term residents of that. I'd also like to state that I believe in the talks and that the childcare centre keeps bringing up tonight. FMG was mentioned tonight. So why don't we go to FMG and ask them for their corporate money to help us with the daycare, as we will go to the state and federal for grants as well. So trust me, this is a one-off. It's the Port Hedland Cemetery. There is a lot of elderly here, and I want to do the right thing by the town. Thank you.
Put it to a vote. Those in favour of the amended motion, show of hands, please. And those against? Motion is passed 5-4. Councillors, can I suggest that we move late items forward? Could I get a mover to move late items forward?
So moved.
Moved. Can I get a seconder?
Seconded.
Councillor De Cash, do I have any against? Thank you. And I'll also, we will do item 4.2. Oh, no, we won't. We'll do 14.4 first. Okay. have we got a mover and second to move late items forward? It was accepted. Have we done everything correctly there? Yes, good. Okay, item 14.4, provision of child care. With, yes, we have the officer's recommendation up on the board. Now, can I get a mover in the officer's recommendation? Move Councillor Deputy Mayor. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Councillor Hebbard. I would I would like to move an amended motion, and that is that engage with childcare operators that may be interested in repurposing existing Town of Port Hedland assets to expand childcare positions in Port or South Hedland. It's an amended motion that I'm putting forward. That should be. Have we writing there?
That's wrong.
Can we just add it to yes, point 5? Yes. Engage with childcare operators that may be interested in repurposing existing Town of Port Hedland assets to expand childcare positions in Port or South Hedland. In repurposing existing. Does it? Okay, I'll make it more specific then. Investigate closing the Port Hedland Library and offer the building to be repurposed for additional childcare positions. Is that clear enough? Is it? Point 3 is a little bit vague. Yeah, no, it is for further investigation. If we remove point B and then make it a lot clearer in number 5. Yeah, so it is again, point 5, investigate closing the Port Hedland Library and offer the building to be repurposed for additional childcare positions to childcare operators. Is that wording okay, CEO? Is the wording okay? Could I get it cleared up if we need to? Just make it very clear. So how would you capture that?
Okay. In that case, if we leave the motion the same, but put a timeline on it. CEO, do we have a timeline, for investigating this? Could I have it, back to the original, but a timeline put in? CEO.
So we will do this as a priority.
Okay. All right. I'm happy with that if we do it as a priority. So we have a mover. Now I've lost my position, Council. Moved Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Hebbar. Do we have any against the motion? No one against. Motion's passed 9-0. So members that are here for the childcare, so the town will look at the options as stated in the officer's recommendation, as a priority, and I bring it back to council for consideration. So thank you all for attending. If you attended for that item. We'll move on now to... Yes, we will do late items first. We'll start from the start. Item 14.1, Statement of Financial Activity for the period ending 31st of July 2018 and 30th of August 2018 with officer recommendation. Presented on the screen. Do I have a mover?
Points of clarification.
Yes.
Councillor Cash. Thank you. Just, let's see. I got a number here. Page 13 on attachment 1. Let me see. So, with the Hayes Personnel Services, does that mean that between the 27th of the 6th, 2018 and the 25th of the 7th, 2018, which is a month, a total of $29,538.90 was spent on the last figures. On to labour hire a contractor, a contract accountant, right down the bottom, Mr. Mayor.
I don't see any 25,000 right at the bottom.
Yeah,
page
but
14.
if you turn the page over, Mr. Mayor, the final figure, 29,538. The 27th of the...
CEO, could I get a answer?
27th of the 6th to the 25th of the 7th.
CEO.
Sorry, what is the question?
The question is, why couldn't we get somebody ourselves if we're going to spend all the money?
The question was not that, Councillor De Cash. What was the original question?
The question is it true that we spend that much money in a month?
CEO?
On a contractor.
So in terms of, we haven't been able to get in-house staff, so we've really struggled in that space. So we have been forced to use contractors, and will be forced to use contractors going forward. I'll just refer to the director to comment, because it's the director's staff.
Yeah.
It's actually 2 people, and that's 2 months' worth of accounts. It would just happen to be paid all in the 1 month.
Thank you, which leaves me, attachment 2, page 15.
Councillor De Cash, could I just add to that as well, and clarify something? CEO, that was the staff for the finance team, is that correct? So council approved the use of external staff to run the finances That's an approved decision by council.
Thank you, but still one question, the dollars. So like I said, attachment 2, page 15, just the fourth column down, again, Hayes Personnel Services, labour hire, from the 8th of the 8th, 2018, the 25th of the 7th, 2018 to the 8th of the 8th, 2018, a total of $36,750 was spent. So together combined within a few months, $66,289.84 was spent.
I'll get that. Can I get the attachment 2 page?
Page 15.
Attachment 2?
Yes. So,
yes, just give me 1 sec. Yes, again, Councillor De Cash, the council is very aware of the expenditure that we are that we have on the books in relation to the finance team. It's been brought to council. Council has discussed it. Council has approved the expenditure currently for the finance team and how we are operating the finance team in, the town of Port Hedland.
Okay. Well, the question was, 2 months, nearly $70,000. That's not a bad rate that's not a bad rate at all, is it, Mr. Mayor?
Councillor De Cash, do you have a direct question on that? And do you disagree with council's decision to use external staff in the finance team?
Not at all. I'm just questioning 2 months' time why we spent so much money. I mean, surely did we send got a tender or not?
Cash, those questions can be asked of the CEO at any time.
Yeah.
Like I've said many times before, and again, the council has approved that expenditure previously.
And I'm entitled, Mr. Mayor,
and
under the whatever law you want to, we work under, to ask questions.
You are, Councillor De Cash, but again, asking questions that may, affect the integrity of our staff, they're not appropriate questions. Like I've said, the council has approved that expenditure within the finance team.
Yeah. Well, that's the words you're saying, Mr. Mayor. I'm not denying the competence of the staff. So if you want to say other words, that's fine. But I've got the next question. Schedule 1, attachment 1. Sorry, page 12. Is the 1, 2, 3, 4 evergreen synthetic grass. That was obviously for the South Hedland Bowling Club. The total of $199,577.40 was spent. Wasn't that an insurance claim?
It certainly was, Councillor De Cash.
So that definitely didn't come out of our pocket at all.
That question can be asked of our staff at any time. It doesn't need to be asked in this arena.
Sorry,
it's
Mr.
quite
Mayor.
Clear. That has been explained many times before. It was a insurance claim, so there was no expenditure to the town. It's been paid by the insurance company.
Okay, well, I'll ask anyway. Page 21, schedule attachment 1. There's a number of barristers and solicitors payments to a total of $6,331.67. Can I have a copy of the request for the lawyers to have a look at? What the items were, please?
No, Councillor Cash, you can't.
Why?
Because that needs to be done as a council decision. So if you would like to, put a motion forward, or to then request the CEO to supply you with legal advice, it needs to be a council decision. Or you could ask that question offline and see if the CEO would like to, issue with that advice.
Can I make that motion now, Mr. Mayor, that any money spent on lawyers the last couple of months or whatever this is, that I be given the reports? Because there's a couple more apart from that too.
To do that correctly, Councillor De Cash, then I suggest that Council develop a policy that then deals with legal advice of the town of Port Hedland, because it would require some guidelines around issuing legal advice. Would you like a policy developed?
Of course, I'd like a policy developed, but I'd also like a copy of these things. So,
CEO,
the motion.
Did you want to expand on that?
So we can provide you with a list of all the items, what the issues were about,
Yes.
but not the actual advice.
Okay, well, give me the issue, and if I want the actual advice, then I'll request it. Is that right?
So now you don't want the advice, you want the like the CEO said, you want the issues that relate to the expenditure.
At this point in time, yes.
Okay.
And then like I said, Mr. Mayor, the policy changes to get the whole detail, if that need be.
A request, if you would like, put a request forward to the CEO to develop a policy relating to advice, legal advice for the town of Port Hedland, when in relation to council usage, I suppose. See?
It is an information request.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's all I've got for now.
Okay, so do I have...
So moved.
Move Councillor Arrow. Second to Councillor McDonough. Do I have any against? Motion's passed 9-0. (14.2) Award of tender RFT 2018-21 Port Hedland Civic Centre upgrades. The officer's recommendation listed on the screen. Do I have a mover?
So moved.
Move Deputy Mayor. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Councillor Whitwell. Do I have any against? The motion is passed 9-0. So the officer's recommendation will read that the council endorse the recommendations of the evaluation panel and award the tender for RFT 2018-21 for the Port Hedland Civic Centre upgrades to Tech Services Group Proprietary Limited for the contract value of $688,900.65, excluding GST. Item 14.3, Gratwick Aquatic Centre filter replacement, with the officer's recommendation on the screen. Oh, we've got a... Did I miss one? No? Oh, I did, yes. Okay. So there is a second... Yes, there is. There is a second officer's recommendation. Do you all have it? Do you, council has? Okay. So... Okay. So do I have a mover and officer's recommendation 2 in relation to the Port Hedland Civic Centre upgrades?
So moved.
Move Deputy Mayor. Do I have a seconder, Councillor Whitwell? And do I have any against? Motion is passed 9-0. There's no reason to read that out. (14.3) Gratwick Aquatic Centre filter replacement, with the officer's recommendation on the screen. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Moved, Councillor McDonough. Do I have a seconder?
Yep.
Councillor Pitt. Do I have any against? Motion is passed 9-0. Just another readout, or it is? CEO, do I have to read this one out, or were the numbers scrubbed out in the agenda? No? Okay. Very good. Item 14.5, Spoilbank Marina update.
Mr Mayor, I have an amendment.
Do I, we'll have to get a mover and a seconder to open the item
I'll
up.
move it.
Move Councillor Arif.
I'll second it.
Have a seconder, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Arif, do you have your
I'd like to add a point 5, that the unspent funds remain in the Spoilbank Reserve account for future landside development and maintenance expenses. Oh, sorry. Where are we up to? The unspent funds. Remain in the Spoilbank Reserve for future development, landside development and maintenance expenses.
Councillor Arif, that is covered in point 3. Just point 3, not the wording on point 3, not.
No, it's not.
Good enough. Okay.
And it's land side, not land site.
We have a mover in Councillor Arif, a seconder in the Deputy Mayor. We have an amended motion. Are you moving that amended motion, Councillor Arif?
Thank you.
Do we have a seconder on the amended motion? Councillor Whitwell. Do we have any against on the amended motion? I'm against. Speakers for. Councillor Arif, speakers for. Councillor Whitwell, speakers against. The Mayor.
Oh, thank you very much. It was with great excitement that the Spoilbank Marina was re-announced last week, and you know we can just hope that we get it up and happening. But I worry that with the much reduced funding that was announced with it, that it will not reach the full potential that the town expect. It was always envisaged when it was talked about many years ago that it would be the Spoilbank Marina precinct. And I think the word precinct has been dropped in the last couple of discussions, and it's just been focusing on just getting the marina across the line, which is great. But to truly make this a community asset where everyone, whether you be a boatie or a mum that wants to go down to a beach, or a young couple that wants to go down and watch the sunset and have a glass of wine, we have to activate the landside. Now, we've got this bonus of $16 million now that has come before us, and I truly believe that we should be using this money to realise this asset that has come to be. It's actually, it's actually worked out, quite well for us that we can do that. This is a great asset that will only enhance the town, and we truly need it. And I think that that's why we need to make sure that $16 million is spent exactly where it was meant to be spent when it was put into that account. Thank you.
Speakers for Councillor Whitwell.
This project's been on for a long while, and we still haven't got anywhere near the start. We were looking at drawing plans about 3 years ago. From my memory, it might have been longer. But, we're still drawing plans, and we're still drawing operational plans. All we've got really at the moment is a skeleton of an idea of what it is. And I think it's improving in the sense that we're getting a little bit more certainty in it. But, there's still going to be considerable time before the first bricks laid, in a sense, right? Now, given that we've made the decision, I hope the government carries through with it. There's always temptation not to carry through with it. We've had many times before, but it seems a little bit more firm now than what it was before. The issue I have with the excess funding is that unspent funding. I think that it's reasonable because that's what we put forward to the community as being the reason we wanted that money, was to put into the Spoilbank area. And again, that was taken out of the, as I remember, it was taken out of the airport reserve, and it was, people considered that very seriously at the time. I would like it to be, first of all, looked at very to see whether those funds can be expended properly and with due regard to people's satisfaction and with due regard to the financial position of those. That we need to look at those first, because we have actually put that money aside, and it seems right that we carry forward with it at this time. Now, in the end, we may say, oh, well, we haven't got any opportunities there. But I think we probably will find opportunities there. But again, they're a little bit they're a little bit vague, but we still need to keep that money there as a potential for development of that situation. The problem we've got is if we go in and we spend all our money on other things that we've put aside, we might end up with a really half-baked show. And, we're given these all these sorts of promises, but they may not be realistic in terms of the quality of what's going up. I can't tell you whether they're right or wrong, but I can tell you that there's a lot of uncertainty about it, and I think we should keep our marbles while we've got them.
Thank you, Councillor Whitwell, and I totally agree that we should be looking into it closely, and that's why we should request that further report be submitted to Council
Point of
before...
clarification, Mayor. Are you debating?
What do we? Councillor or Deputy, I'm lost. Could you explain?
Well, we've just had 4-4. Are you debating or is it a statement that you're making right now?
So we're in debate. So we've had Councillor Arif, who is for, Councillor Whitwell, who is for, and I'm speaking, so I'm against. Okay. It would more than likely be wise of council to have a look at all the options that are available to us, across the town. Considering the deal has just been done, we've been looking at this for a long time. I do agree with getting a further report and being fully informed on what any specific repurposing of the funds, may end up looking like, considering, the endorsement of the point 2. So I think that also, we know there's going to be a long lead time before anything happens on the spoil bank, and also there's going to be a significant, build time as well. So if there is other opportunities that are presented to us, then we should consider those in the short term. Speakers for? Speakers against? Right of reply.
Thank you very much. I think the landside development of the Spoilbank Marina precinct is a very important part of it. And initially we did look at caravan parks, shops, cafes and things like that. And I think we really need to look at it. They actually could be, certainly add to our rate base. If you've got a shop down there, we get more rates coming in, so that's a good thing. But also, assisting small businesses and things like that. We may even need to relocate the library down there if we repurpose the library. So that may be a great spot. Hey, sit and read a book, overlooking the ocean. Fantastic. So for that reason, we need to make sure that we do allocate the money to make the Spoilbank precinct the best possible place that we can for our residents of our town. Thank you.
Those in favour of the amended officer's recommendation? Motion's passed 9-0. So we'll move on to the ordinary part of the agenda. (11.1.2) Review of ordinary council meetings scheduled for 2019 with the officer's recommendation on page 22. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation? Move Councillor Carter.
Seconded.
Seconded Councillor Arif.
I have an amendment, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, no.
Just to add a couple of points, Mr. Mayor, that's point 3, just say, if necessary, meetings will be held in October the 18th and January the 19th, as deemed fit. In other words, if issues come up in those months, we have meetings, easy.
So the correct process, by endorsing the officer's recommendation, the correct process would just be to call a special council meeting.
Yes.
Which can be done at any time if a urgent item needs to be decided by council.
Okay, well, I just thought I'd put it down in black and white, Mr. Mayor. But if you, just the way you said, that's fine. I'll withdraw that one and make point 4, another point 3 then, that all OCMs to be held at council chambers.
I'm unclear if we have requested here to have a council meeting elsewhere.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Under page 25, it's touted that potential locations, we talked about having alternative locations, and it's right up there, and then it says under South Hedland that if, for instance, we hire a room somewhere else, that the estimated cost would be $500 per meeting.
I'm happy to put that in there. I really haven't seen the council in my time.
Oh, we
have
did
a meeting somewhere else.
We have, Mr. Mayor, a couple of times, but I'm just saying why should we spend $500?
Okay. So I had a mover in Councillor Arif. Councillor Carter. And my seconder was Councillor Arif. Okay. Does the mover agree with the amendment? It's okay. And does the seconder? Okay. We'll put it to a vote. Those in favour of the officer's recommendation with the amendment? Those against?
Oh, I just want to say something again. It's like, what if there's an event that happens at council chambers and we can't have the meeting at chambers? You know, what if there's a fire in the building that destroys the chambers?
Can I just hold you there? Okay. I just need to get some clarification on what Councillor Pitt.
Did we do that correctly? Yes. So we had. And if for whatever reason we will have to change. Yeah, we got okay, so it's been voted on. So discussion stops after the vote, even though there is. It's a simple clarification. So okay. Is that okay? Right.
Yes, Councillor Pitt. Can you? What's your clarification again?
Well, for point 3, that all ordinary council meetings are to be held in council chambers. What if there's like an event, an earthquake? Not saying that there is a fire.
Okay.
Council chambers aren't available. Can that be clarified on more?
We can, as a council, we can decide to have a council meeting elsewhere. It is just a decision of council, and there will be a process put in place. So it's quite possible for us to change the meeting, the schedule. It is quite possible for us to change it. There is some advertising involved.
Okay.
So
yep, cool. No worries.
Okay. So do I have a 9-0 agreement, or is it 8-1? 9-0. Thank you. Item 11.1.3, a write-off of bad debts, with the officer's recommendation on page 29.
So moved.
Move Councillor McDonough.
Seconded.
Seconded Councillor Arif. Do I have any against? Motion's passed 9-0. (11.1.4) Adoption of Corporate Business Plan 2018 to 2022, with the officer's recommendation on page 32. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor McDonough. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Carter. Do I have any against? Motion's passed 9-0. 11.2.1 Amendment of Policy 6-003 Funding and Donations, with the officer's recommendation on page 36. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor Aru. Do I have a second? Seconded Councillor McDonough. Do I have any against? Motion is passed 9-0.
11.2.2, a proposed use not listed, rural home business, lot 5223, Great Northern Highway, Pipingara.
Mr Mayor,
With the officer's recommendation on page 49.
Can I ask that this item be deferred, given that Mr Edwards had documents that were very quickly passed around, but we didn't have time to fully read them and understand them?
So this item has come to council previously. It's been deferred previously.
But each time we're getting different information, and I wasn't aware of this, and I don't know whether the other councillors were.
I suggest, what was that, Sia? Sia?
Just to get that information from.
Oh, no, I don't think so. No.
I'd move Councillor Reed's
Information should have been supplied before the council meeting. We can't have information given to us on the night and then make a decision on that information. That's not good. That's not good practice. So we have an item in front of us. It's been deferred once before. I suggest that we debate the item and put our arguments forward on it.
Can I ask for a point of clarification?
Yes, sir.
Can the neighbouring properties receive written notification of the submission, within the advertising period?
So once a decision is made here, then neighbouring properties will be notified.
They will be.
Yep.
And given a chance to respond.
Absolutely.
Do I have any other points of clarification while we're doing points of clarification?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I'd like to clarify on that, saying yes. If we vote on it on a yes, then the neighbours will get it. That we vote yes for this recommendation. There's no coming back for them. Yeah.
This is for
Thank you.
This is for advertising only.
Okay.
This stage.
All right. Sorry. Thank you.
So, just point of clarification too, just quickly. While we are, if we do move ahead with this, while we're going before it comes back to us next, could we have clarification on those titles that he exists and it says horse yards? Thank you.
Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor McDonough. Do I have a seconder? Seconder Councillor Hebbard. Do I have any against?
Yes, Mr Mayor.
Speakers for Councillor McDonough. Speakers for Councillor Hebbard. Speakers against. Councillor De Cash.
Yes, just in relation to item 11.2.2, proposed use not listed for a rural home business. This is purely just to start the process or get the ball rolling, as we might say, on getting the land changed, the use of the land changed and the advertising out there. So then would it be possible, once those submissions are received from the community in general and any concerned parties, then that can be brought to us with the application from the business that is wishing to operate there. I see absolutely no reason with the information that has been presented to us thus far that we don't go ahead with this as it is at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDonough. Speakers for Councillor Hebbard.
I concur with Councillor McDonough. This is an application that's been received for a rural home business, and there is an advertising period and an opportunity for neighbouring properties or individuals in the town that object to it to submit their information back.
Thank you, Councillor Hebbard. Speakers against, Councillor De Cash.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, like I pointed out earlier, new information has come forward, what concerns me is that maybe not all of not all the parties around that area were informed of the situation of this application. Therefore, they didn't have a chance to come and have a say previously. I know it's been debated a few times, and this decision has to be made. But I like that everybody has a chance to come and have their say, whether they're for it or against it, and that we make a decision on what these people tell us. So that's why I'm not happy with voting for it, Mr. Mayor.
Speakers for? I'll speak for it. This is very basic when it comes to town planning. It's obviously a use not listed. The item is about, putting out to advertising, allowing people to put their objections forward if they like, all right? And then those objections and that information, any extra information will be presented to council in addition to, this report when it comes back. So, it's just an administrative a process, and we need to follow it. That's all there is to it. So, I'm sure that everyone that's objecting and that, wants to have their say about a business being put in that area will have the opportunity, when it's advertised and when a submission period closes. Speakers against? Councillor Whitwell.
Look, I understand the protocol here and so forth. That's fine. I don't have any question about that. But what I do have is that there's doesn't seem to be, and this is incredible, that there's only a few properties actually involved. It's probably about 10 or so properties that might have some say in it. And these people haven't actually been contacted, And all right, by chance somebody picked it up yesterday. But the thing is that I think you've got to really be a little bit more thoughtful of the people in that area, who, sure they'll have a position to come and sort of, in a sense, it's moving along. Oh, we're going to stop it. It's a harder situation. But it's good to know that the council's put its mind to it. And I did speak on the previous occasion, not knowing whether it was close or not to this person. I knew, right? And I said, why don't we just check it out, right? And I think it's in our interest to check it out. It's not as though it's something that's got to happen overnight. If it did, then we'd have the people here representing people, but we don't. So I just think it's look. I know it's a bit of a pain to draw it out, but I do think that we need to talk to the people, at least give them some courtesy.
Speakers for? Speakers against?
Speak against, thank you. I was the one who originally deferred this item just with concern whether it was under a pastoral lease through the Aboriginal Lands Trust, and hearing the information here tonight, and then also thinking of this process, these people haven't been consulted, and that's a problem I find within this council, is the lack of community consultation on a lot of things, and community feel that they're missing out on having their voice heard. Also, when objections are put in, we've had rates objections, we've had all types of different objections that just aren't considered. So I feel that, tonight I'll be voting against this motion. Thank you.
Speakers for? Speakers against? Right of reply.
Yes, thank
Councillor
you, Mayor.
McDonough.
Look, there's certainly some very good points there. I would think that one of the main ones that was made was the fact that this item has already been deferred once, and we need to get the process in motion so we can get the advertising out there, and we can get the submissions in from any concerned parties. Up until this point, we haven't had any issue from any concerned party other than the reason it was deferred last time, which was about a pastoral lease question. I would suggest that any concerned parties will be able to put a proper submission to us once we've got an application from this business as to how they want to move forward. This is just purely the change of the land purpose, and I think if we defer it again or if we vote it down, then these people have already invested significant amounts of money putting business plans together and that sort of thing, and that they need to know that it's moving forward, or that we can come to some sort of resolution, whatever that might be, not just keep delaying it and delaying it and delaying it. So I would encourage all my fellow councillors to just vote for this as per the officer's recommendation, and we'll get the process happening, and then obviously address any concerns as they're put to us. Thank you.
Those in favour of the officer's recommendation, can I have a show of hands, please? Thank you. Those against? The motion passes 6-3. (11.3.1) Award of tender RFT 2018-20 Operational Maintenance Service, South Hedland Landfill Waste Water Treatment Plant, with the officer's recommendation on page 65. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation? Move, Deputy Mayor. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Councillor Whitwell. Do I have any against? The motion's passed 9-0. And the motion will read that the Council endorse the recommendation of the Evaluation Panel and award the tender for RFT 2018-20 for the Operational and Maintenance Service, South Hedland Landfill Water Treatment Plant to Wastewater Services Pty Ltd for the projected contract value of $1,523,553, excluding GST, for the life of the contract being 7 years, 5 years with an optional extension of 2 years. Thank you. That's it. Okay. So item 12, reports of committees, there is nil. Item 13, motions of which previous notice has been given. At the 26th of September 2018 Ordinary Council meeting, Councillor Arif supplied a notice of motion to remove item 3.2, attendance by telephone instantaneous communication, from the agenda. Councillor Arif has since withdrawn this notice of motion. And also the notice of motion that was put forward by Councillor McDonough has been heard tonight. Item 14, we have business of urgent nature we have already done. Item 15, matters for which the meeting may be closed, confidential matters, there is nil. Item 16, closure. The next Ordinary Council meeting will be held on Wednesday, the 28th of November 2018, commencing at 5:30, with the public agenda briefing being held on Wednesday, the 21st of November 2018, commencing at 5:30. So I declare the meeting closed at 7:59.